I'm gonna be honest, like even though I'm French, I'm not the biggest fan of French people. Floating workouts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the thing is, right, like if you're moving abroad, but also you're moving away from your family for the first time, it's like a lot at once, you know? Locals are your best friend in a way. Hey, I'm sick. Do you know like a good doctor or something like that? It's always gonna save you in the end.
I think all I know about French people is the people that exist in my class. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Curry Meets Croissant. If I'm not wrong, this is episode number 6. And yeah, we have come this far that we are now putting out episode number 6, which is really interesting. I'm sure about it. So Curry Meets Croissant is the podcast where we talk about the real experiences of international students, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So I'm Ruta and I'm your loving host. So let's get started with this episode. So, studying abroad is often, romanticized, but the reality comes with its fair share of challenges. So, academic stress, financial pressure, cultural differences, homesicknesses, and just the mental load of adapting to a whole new environment. So, today I have a guest joining me from Madrid, and we'll be discussing our personal experiences, struggles, and ways to navigate mental health while studying abroad. So let's get started on the episode and know more about it. So, hello, Margot. Welcome to Curry Meets Croissant. I'm really happy that you made time and that you are here and you're gonna share your experiences. So, how are you doing today, and how is Madrid treating you?
Yeah, it's great. Right now, raining a lot, which is the opposite of what you'd think of Spain, but very nice, very good.
Yeah, you have been in so many different countries since childhood, since you were born. So, how is that coming along?
Yeah, I think that I mean like for example talking about like home and like homesickness and kind of like finding your place when you move. I think that I mean I personally don't relate to the feeling of home being a certain place, but
Mhm.
it's more to me like home being somewhere where I am with someone and with people and the connections that I have with those people.
So how is like Spain treating you all these months since you're there for your master's?
It's been good. I actually lived in Madrid my second year of my bachelor's.
Hmm.
So I knew Madrid. I moved into the apartment
Hmm.
across like literally same like number, and just instead of being right, we're in the left. So my neighbors are in the apartment where I used to live at like 2 years ago now.
I think in France it's a little difficult to find such
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. I know, like I mean I'm gonna be honest, like even though I'm French, I'm not the biggest fan of French people. I've like I've grown to have a very international perspective on them. And first of all, I realize how complicated it is to move to France and not speak French. Like,
I'm looking forward to it. I hope that it's written in my destiny. Let's see. But you are involved into so many sports, and I only know that you do rock climbing because interaction in Germany, and then you were doing for a year and a half, I think, at that time. So how did that begin, and how did you get into sports altogether?
so I started, I mean, I've been like doing sports since I was a kid, but I stopped for a bit. And then during COVID, I had like nothing to do, and there was a gym in my apartment complex. So I started working out, and I started doing a like we all did, I think, clothing workouts.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I in London when I had like nothing to do, I was a little like sad, and it was just the weather was also kind of bad. I started going to the gym, and I had a gym buddy, like she lived right next to my gym, and we would go together. And I mean, that's kind of where I started working out consistently. And I mean, what I love about working out, like going to a gym, is that like if you kind of break the barriers of like everyone's in their zone, listening to their music and like in their own personal bubble, you actually can also have such a nice like community and such a nice like support net when you feel like sad or anything, because like usually people who work out are also like very like emotionally aware of like themselves and of others also. And I think that like it's super nice. Like here I have like two or three people that like every time I go to the gym, they like say hi to me. We talk very quickly. We're just like, oh, how are you doing? Whatever. Small talk, but it's still nice. You have a little gym community and it's cool.
But yeah, I really follow your the other channel where you post a lot of workout sessions and also climbing and also what you eat for calories and all. I think I love that. I tried your burger and I was like, this is chef's kiss.
Really?
Liked it.
Oh, thank you. That makes me very happy.
You keep on posting more, recipes in future. I think that would be really helpful. And it would
Yeah,
be
of course.
so
Thank
okay,
you.
let's move on with the segments. And so you moving abroad is really overwhelming. So what was the biggest adjustment for you, like when you moved from country to country or you moved from Japan to Europe, like all together?
I mean, I think that the thing is, right, like if you're moving abroad, but also you're moving away from your family for the first time, it's like a lot at once, you know? And I think that like first of all, it's like, you have that whole thing of missing your family, missing your support net, being alone. But then you also have that whole thing of like being in a new country, you don't know anyone, you don't know anything. You're like, you go to the grocery store and you have no idea like where they put the milk and where they put the flour because every single country is different. So that's already in the first place. You have to like learn where things go. But I think that like, I mean, I guess what the hardest thing is when you move abroad, in my opinion, is actually meeting people that are from the place. And
Mm-hmm.
what I mean by that is that like you tend when you move abroad for studies, or even when I moved abroad, like I went to other than in the US, I was in a public school, but when I was like everywhere else, I was in international schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually like when I think back about it, there's not a single person that I know personally that is like 100% Japanese from Japan that lived in Japan their entire life, because they're in their own like circle in their own life, and then we're international kids are like in another whole life. And so I think that like what I've been trying to do here in Madrid is actually like getting to meet, like since I speak Spanish, it's like meeting people from Spain, meeting people from Madrid. So I get like the insider perspective on things. And I think that's really important. And I think that it's like, locals are your best friend in a way. Even though in Paris they're not the nicest, I'm sure you'll find some nice Parisians. And it's like I mean, they can help you with anything and everything, and they can also help you kind of like build your basis in the country, because you arrive, you have no idea, like the first time you're sick, you're like, how do I go to the doctor, like
Mm-hmm.
what happens? And then having someone that's locally from the place that you can text and just ask like, hey, I'm sick, do you know like a good doctor or something like that? It's always gonna save you in the end.
That's a very good insight. I'm actually trying to like, meet more Parisians or French people in general. I think all I know about French people is the people that exist in my class. That's the only French people that I know, or maybe in my school community. Like there are certain, they speak a lot of, like they speak in their own language, and that's how I picked up words. That's how I started understanding that okay, this is what they mean, or this is what they do. I think initially when I came to France, it was a really shocking thing because I used to stay away from my parents when I was 18, but only in like Indian surrounding, like to one state to the other. But I think moving abroad was also like a very big challenge. Like you're miles away from your family. And like how you mentioned, like when we were having a discussion that you just sleep on your bed and you just stare at the ceiling and you don't know what to do. Like I really have those moments. I'm like, I just generally don't have anything to do. I feel like I've done everything in my life and not life, sorry, like in the whole day and I don't know what to do. I think I really have to learn from you, from other people who have been to so many different countries and all. Yeah, that's a really great perspective that I just learned. I'm learning also here. But did you experience any cultural shock or how did that impact your mental well-being?
I think that like cultural shocks, I mean, like going from France to Spain, like, I mean, my kind of like culture, as in like, what my parents raised me, like the culture that my parents raised me with, because the only French culture I had basically was through my parents. Both my parents are French. So like I spoke French at home. I had to read French books. I had to like watch French movies, and for dinner we had quiche and yeah, very French stuff. For for Christmas we would have foie gras, very French things, even in Brazil. And and I mean, I think like coming here to Spain, to me, it wasn't that big of a culture shock because obviously, like, it's very similar. What is still a big problem for me is that, like, I Spanish time, like, perception, impossible. I still don't understand. Like, you say, let's meet at 6, and then they end up coming at 8. Like, it does
Oh,
not make sense. Like, they're never on time. They're always late. It's a whole thing, and they also have like a whole like also for example, like for me, I I eat like I try to eat at like Spanish times ish,
mhm.
but like for Spanish people they have dinner at like 11 p.m.
Late
And
to
I'm
it.
like I'm like at 11 p.m. I am in my bed in my pajamas, like watching Netflix. Like I am not having dinner at 11 p.m.
God. No, I can relate to that because I think Spanish culture is somewhat like Indian culture. They don't respect anyone's time. So if the meeting is at like 10, it'll definitely start at 11 or 11:30 and we're like, "Okay, why did we come before time? We should have like taken our own sweet time." But it's quite the opposite as well. When you take your own sweet time, then the meeting is like, it has started. And then you really have
Yeah,
to think that, oh, okay, it was late the other time and then now I'm late, so it started. I think when it comes to having dinner in my household also when I'm with my parents, I think we generally have dinner at 11:30 according to Indian timings. And like when I'm staying alone, I finish having dinner by 8:39 max.
yeah,
Sometimes if I'm too tired to get up and go, I think 10 is the max time that I'm gonna finish dinner. By 11, I'm in my bed and I'm literally snoring by 11:30.
yeah,
So that is a
yeah,
very huge difference when you come to know that you're staying alone and staying with your parents is like two different things altogether.
yeah, 100%. And also, like for me, I mean, like in a way, yeah, Brazilian time is the same. Like they also don't really respect other people's times. Like it's like the barbecue starts at 12. Everyone's pulling up at like 4 p.m. Literally, like it's crazy. And like you call them, like at 2 p.m. no one's there. You call them, you're like, where are you? And they're like, "Hey," and they're like on their couch. They haven't even showered yet, and like it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But like when I was in Japan, I I was like since Japan, I am so like time sensitive. I'm always late because I always like 5 minutes late, because I always underestimate the time that it takes me to do things. But I have like so many uh alarms on my phone,
I think you and me at the same table. Even I have too many
like
alarms, like every 5-10 minutes, like an alarm
yes,
is
exactly. I have alarms. I have like my calendar literally would give like people anxiety, I think.
we are on the same team.
So I'm a very organized person. And when I was in Germany, I was like in heaven, like people come like 5 minutes early to be on time. Everything's organized, everything's like this, and this is how it is. And I was living my life. And then I moved back to Spain and I'm like, stop this, please.
But yeah, I think you'll get to it.
Yes, I'm a little less stressed now than at the start. At the start, like because our schedule at ESBS is only confirmed the Friday before the Monday,
Mhm.
and at first it would give me so much anxiety. I would be like, I can't plan anything. I can't even plan my workout schedule because I don't know if I can work out on Monday or not.
Oh my God. Oh, I can imagine like how that might feel because even I have the same thing that I reconfirm everything. If they have told us to come tomorrow, maybe we have a master class, we have to be there in the school by 10. I'll reconfirm again. Like, are you sure we have it? Because I really don't want to, what do you say, mess up my sleep schedule because at 10 I have to go there because sometimes the Paris school they have a habit of canceling classes last minute. So like everybody's present and then they come out and say, sorry, the teacher couldn't make it. I'm like, why you should have told us earlier?
It's
You sh
crazy.
Yeah, I think that it gives you like a major anxiety, like you should have told me this.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have come
Oh
this
yeah.
whole way. But I think they'll get
Yeah.
used to the customs and all. Yeah, I think everybody belongs in that way because initially when I came to Paris, I thought that, it's gonna be easy. How hard will it be? I think 1 month down the line, I was like, this is tougher than I actually thought it would be. That because I don't speak the language. So I started learning the language on internet, like free courses and everything. And the pronunciation is something that doesn't come easy. I think
Mm.
it's really hard to pronounce certain names. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just do the English version of it. You understand? That's more important. And even like when you said that your account got hacked, I think it happened with me as well. And I panicked and I called my mom, my dad, everybody. Like, I don't know what to do. You call the bank. And it was like late in the evening and everything was shut. And I was like, I don't know. What if I cannot, purchase anything, do anything with the card? What will I do? How will I survive? Like, my whole life journey came in front of me, I think, in seconds. Like, what will happen if my card doesn't unblock itself?
Yeah, I had the same thing, like because I was in England, so I could only pay in pounds. And so it was like I had like both my I only had two bank accounts and both of my bank account got hacked. So both of my cards didn't work anymore. So then I had to create a Revolut account and I just used my card like contactless for like 2 months because I had 2 months left in England. And then when I went home, I had my two new cards that were there because I got both of my cards got shipped to my parents' place. So it's like, yeah, it's also like when things happen, you realize how complicated things are. Like I got my phone stolen maybe like a month into being in Madrid.
Completely understandable. Do you think that working while studying adds to mental stress?
Depends. I think it depends on what level. Like for example, I at the start of the year, like the masters, I had two jobs. Um, it was not a good idea. Uh, I I stopped one of the two. Now I just work for an NGO, like a football NGO part time, and they're actually also in Paris,
Oh,
and it's called Women Football Club, and yeah, like it's nice. It actually keeps me entertained and it keeps me busy, which I think is important because since we don't have many classes, I need to find like ways to occupy myself and I can work out, but it's only gonna take like maximum 2, 3 hours of my day. Like I'm not gonna be living in the gym for like 10 hours.
yeah.
So I need things to do. So I having that keeps me busy and keeps me kind of like also doing things and I really like it. So I think that it depends. Like obviously if you're doing like full-time studies, because for us, to me, this feels like part-time studies because we have class like I have class in the afternoon from 3 to 7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then after we have like the online classes now. But like to me it really feels like part-time studies. Like I have my entire morning where I can be working.
it's quite the opposite over here because we have classes from morning till evening.
Really?
From 9 to 5.
Oh,
It's like
that's
a
crazy.
job in
No,
itself. 9 to 5.
wow. Yeah, that's how it used to be for my bachelor's. So for me, it's like super weird because I go from like for my bachelor's, it was like that. Like I had class like every day from like 9 to 5, I think. Yeah. And it would be like 5 days a week. And then after I went and I worked, like I did 3 internships like each year in between each year. So also like 9 to 5. And now I'm here and I'm like, whoa, like what am I doing with my life? Because I have so much free time and I am not used to it. And I'm like, you know, too much free time. I need something to entertain me. So that's why I'm like, I'm trying to find things that keep me busy. And it's like, as long as like I enjoy it, to me, like the most important thing is that like, if like we're young, we can afford to be doing things in life that we like
Right.
and making the decisions of like this I don't like, but this I like.
Mm.
This pays less, or this has like they don't pay me, or something like that, like when it comes to internships. And then this one, they pay me, but I'm probably going to be bored out of my mind. I think that we're young enough to make the decision. Like it's not like a life-changing decision where like if we decide on having this job, we're gonna have it for the rest of our life.
True.
It's like a temporary thing just to get through it, just to like do something. And so I think that it's like it's important to do things that you enjoy in life. And I think that like if you're doing something that doesn't bring you joy, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's how I see things.
True. I'll completely agree with you on that because I think we are kind of lucky people that we get to do what we love, which is being in sports, study everything in sports, then also get out and do some internships or jobs in sports, or maybe in general, whatever we like. And I think, yeah, we also chose the place that we want to do our masters from. I think we are from one of the lucky batch of people. But yeah, it comes with a lot of advantages and the disadvantages. So it has their own sets of pros and cons in it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what strategies have personally helped you cope with stress and anxiety while studying abroad or just staying alone for general?
I mean, I think that like it's like what I was saying, it's channeling your energy into specific things. I think that like if you feel stressed or anxious or anything, I mean, like obviously, like above all, it's like kind of like taking a moment to step back and understand what is like at the root of it. And I think that like when I'm like at my most stressed or anything, I start journaling because like putting things down on paper is actually like really helpful. I also like now that like the thing is like now that it has been going on for like 3 years, I know when I'm like not okay or when I am okay. And that means that like for example, like I meditate. Like if I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack, or if I feel just a little bit like anxious, like I'm always very anxious. I'm an anxious person. It's how I am. Like I'm stressed. It's the way I am. I'm not I like I can't fix that. That's just the way I am. But there's like a certain point. And when I feel more stressed than normal,
Mhm.
then like I know that I need to do something to fix it, or else like it's just gonna keep on getting worse. So I think that like meditation has actually really helped me. I also like reading's also quite nice. And I think that also like something that personally for me helps me to be a lot less anxious is like planning and also having like a checklist throughout the day.
So, okay, moving on. So, how do you think that society perceives mental health issues among students, especially in different cultures?
I think that recently like people tend to be more aware of mental health, but I think that like personally things that I've like kind of been through is that like people are like, you're young, you're living abroad, like you have everything to be happy. Why aren't you? You know? The thing is like nothing in life is black and white, you know, like there's always like certain aspects of things that like, yeah, okay, I'm like living abroad, I'm studying something that I like, but there's this, that, and this and that that's going on, which like no one's ever going to know unless they ask. And I think that like when you when you tell people like I think there's a certain amount of guilt, you know, where it's like you're living abroad, people are like, "Oh my God, you're living the dream," you know, like, "Oh, you're living in Europe, having like so much fun and everything." But it's like there's always like uh another aspect of things. And so I think that telling people like, yes, okay, but there's this going on, there's that going on, I don't feel okay, I'm mentally like I'm not okay, whatever. There's always going to be this aspect of guilt where people are going to make you feel like, why aren't you? Because you have everything, I like you have everything that I would want to be happy. So why aren't you happy? And I think that's problematic, like for sure. And universities are like giving a lot of like help now, and they're like trying to make sure that people don't feel like students don't feel like they're not able to talk about things. But I think there's still the whole stigma of like, you know, international students should feel lucky and should be happy. And obviously, yeah, we should. But there's always aspects of things that people don't see and that they don't, they're never going to understand either.
That's so true, yeah. I think when I was also moving to abroad, like for masters, when I actually made the decision that I really want to go study masters from European countries and only Europe, and now I'm considering like I should have considered US as well. But anyways, so there were a lot of my own relatives. They were like, "Oh, you're moving abroad. Your life is gonna be set." Like, how? How? It's not set anyways. You're like struggling every day. Every day is like a new challenge to you, like getting out of that bed and then doing things on your own. In It's like it puts you anyways in a position to have anxiety in its own, like, oh shit, I have to do this, oh I did not do this, I did not do this, I had to do this. It's like planning the
Yeah,
whole day is very difficult now. You have your
yeah,
classes, you have your other things, and then you also like certain things, you want to do that. It's like it's a tough job.
yeah.
So let's begin. And based on your experience, what advice would you give to a new international student struggling with their mental health?
I think that the most important thing I would say would be to, I mean, you know, it's hard. Like it's definitely complicated, but I think that like the first and most important thing I would say would be to let your university know, because in the end, there's always resources that are available to you. And whether it's like, you know, having like someone you can talk to or having like actual help or anything, like it's always going to be, you're always going to have some kind of a support system. But also, I think that it's definitely like it's important to also kind of like try to figure out why and try to tackle it, like I said. So I think that like definitely like if you're struggling with mental health, 100% what I would say would be the most important thing is to journal and read back like a week later and see what was happening. And you'll realize that actually like your stress, your anxiety and everything, a week later, what made you cry and have like a panic attack a week ago, a week later is nothing. It literally feels like a grain of sand. So I think that it's also like learning how to understand yourself, learning how to understand your mental health, and also definitely like trying to find a support system, trying to find like people that you can trust, people that you can go to, people that you can talk to if you really need someone.
That's a very good advice. Yeah. I think even I'm finding my own thing that I'm reaching out to people that I feel that I'm comfortable with, and then sharing my point of view or the thing that I'm going through. I think in these phases, I have developed a very close connection with my mom, that I really share certain things with my mom. Might not be everything, but at least certain things that I think that she will understand the most, or she will understand better and then advise me better. I'll just listen to it. I think my mom has become my counselor in a very good way, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, like, I used to not be close to my mom at all,
Mm.
like, at all. Like, almost like we hated each other kind of situation. It was like not the best. And then, like, I don't know, like, I mean, to me, like, the problem was that my mom would treat me not like an adult because, like, to her, I wasn't. But, like, I mean, I was living abroad, you know. And then, like, I think my mom kind of realized what was going on. And then, yeah, like a year ago, uh, I also went through a rough breakup, and the first person I called crying was my mom. Like,
So
yeah,
sweet.
so
I think in that
life works in mysterious ways.
exactly. I mean, it's like, in the situations also depends like who we want to call, who we want to share our things with. And now that the life is happening too much, and then we are also growing up, we are getting old, that makes me sad. But okay. I think that I think age is something, and the experiences that we are going through, it's making us get closer to our parents, especially our
For
mothers,
sure.
because we are like girls, we are more comfortable to share things with our moms. So I think
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
yeah. Good way of putting it. So, to any international students out there feeling overwhelmed, what's one thing you would like to say them right now?
I think that, like, I think that it's important to know that being overwhelmed and being anxious and feeling like in doubt, you know, it's normal. Everyone feels it. And I think that, like, it's something that society tends to kind of like demonize in a way. Like, if you feel stressed, if you feel anxious, if you feel um like any sort of negative way, people will make you think that it's not normal, that it's not okay, that like you're not okay. But I think that everyone has a certain amount of self-doubt, of like of anxiety, and we all have like different things in life that are going on, and we all have different perspectives on life. But every single person has sometimes feels overwhelmed, and that's completely normal, and that's how life works, so that's how the humans are. And I think that definitely, like, what is important when you feel overwhelmed is to find ways to cope with it, and to find ways to kind of like relax, take a step back, and like think about it, you know, and understand it. And I think that's part of growing, you know, like, to grow, you have to take a step back and analyze everything that goes on in your life. And so that's kind of why I think that, like, if you feel like you said, you know, feel overwhelmed, feel anxious, anything, grab your shoes, go for a walk.
Sure.
Go for that walk, enjoy whatever, like, enjoy the walk, enjoy the like fresh air, get yourself oxygenated, enjoy everything, you know, and then come back, sit back down, and look back at it, because you'll realize how it's not that big of a deal anymore, you know?
True. Wow, that was a really insightful conversation I had with you. I think about mental health, not a lot of people they tend to talk about it, but they feel like, oh, this is like like something I would prefer to keep it myself, like suppressing words and then not saying it out loud. I think, yeah, I really learned a lot from you today. I think that's what the thing that I started doing podcast is, just to sit down and just to listen to other story, that if I feel that my life is more problematic, listen to someone else's. That there must be more traumatic than yours is, and then you'll start feeling like, oh, my problem doesn't make sense. It's like a very teeny tiny thing And then that's what I wanted to actually do, like learn more about people, talk more about life, and then also make friends. That's all.
Yeah. I think that like, it's I think that like tying into the whole thing of like problems and like getting to like have another person's life, have another person's perspective on things and everything. I think that it's, like when you're in your own head, everything, the mi most minor inconvenience feels like the world is about to crumble.
Mhm.
And I think that like obviously everyone has different lives, everyone has different problems, and a very small thing can seem like nothing to you and be a huge deal to someone else because of like something that has happened to them. Just like, you know, that seems so small to someone else can mean so much to you. And I think that's like what's also really important about like stress, anxiety, and problems and everything is that like having a support net and having someone you can talk to about it is always going to make you like I don't know how to say the word in English. In French, it's like such a fancy word, you know. But it's gonna make you kind of like see perspectives and have a different perspective on your problem and kind of understand, like look back, look as like a third person in the scenario, you're like someone that's sitting looking at it. And I think that's really important. And definitely, like, mental health is 100% like such a taboo topic in society, and it shouldn't be because everyone struggles with it. Like, everyone struggles with it. So it should be as important, prioritized as physical health, in my opinion.
Hmm. That's a very nice way to put it. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Margot, for sharing your experiences and insights, and also this mental health journey. Like, it really helped me also, and I'm sure that it is gonna help the viewers and the listeners who's listening to us. And thank you so much. But yeah, how did you feel about this whole thing?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And I really hope that something that I said is insightful to someone in a way or in another. And yeah, no, this was super nice. It's really nice also for me like to look back and reflect on everything and kind of makes me realize how much I've grown since my first year of moving away with my parents. So it's super nice.
Yeah, you definitely should pat yourself on the back and said you made it. You came so far from all the struggles, all the mental tricks that happened to you. I think you have done a really good job.
Yeah, it's a growing it's also a growing process. Like you're never 100% there. And I think that's also super nice to always be able to grow more and be able to learn more. I think
True.
that's also important.
Oh, that's a very good session. Like I did not think that, talking about mental health would be so nice. I think
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's true. I think that it's like such a hard topic to talk about that like you're kind of like dreading talking about it, But I think that ties into the whole thing of like social society like stigmatizing it. Like even yourself, you're like, oh, like, do I want to talk about this? But it is important to talk about it, and it's definitely like it's an important thing to talk about, and it feels nice to talk about it because we don't often. So
well. But yeah, I'm just seeing that how brave you are, and there's so much to learn from you. And yeah, definitely we are meeting again for 1 month. We'll be all together, and I'll literally get to know you more, learn more about you, and that would be fun. I'm really
yeah, that
looking
would be
forward.
super nice.
Yeah.
You can meditate with me.
Meditate is something that I cannot do. It's like, when I sit even for 2 minutes, I'll be snoring in the third minute. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
just
Okay.
sleep. Like I'm a very huge sleeper. Like if I'm stressed, I'll prefer sleeping. If I'm too anxious, I'll
Really?
prefer
Okay.
sleeping. If I'm very angry, sleep. Everything, sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
I have like I struggle so much to fall asleep. Like so for me meditation is like not a problem. I meditate sometimes for like 30, 45 minutes.
I cannot. I'll definitely go to
But
sleep
I
then.
do. I do like guided meditations. So it's like people talking. It's easier because it keeps you like entertained. Because if I just do like meditation, like nothing around me, or just, like the relaxing music, after like 2 seconds, I'm like overthinking. My head is like going everywhere and anywhere. So like guided meditation is super nice. Like it's like someone just talking to you in the back with like some music. Super nice. You should definitely try guided meditation. I'm sure
Or like,
it's like
do recommend me some. I'll definitely start with small pace, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
I often just go on YouTube and I just Google like guided meditation and then the amount of time that you want. And then you just put it on the side and follow what they say.
I should definitely give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for suggesting that. And also, thank you so much for your time. I
Yeah,
hope
of
you
course.
enjoyed today. And I really had a good time. And also to all the fellow listeners, if you find this episode helpful, then do share it with your friend who really needs to hear all these things. And also follow us, follow Curry Meets Croissant, follow Margot for more real conversation on the international student experiences. But I would definitely, put your Instagram ID on the description because people should see like how you are doing in life, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Especially her recipes are really nice. Everybody should try it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice. And thanks for having me. And I really hope that someone got something helpful out of this conversation. So super nice.
Yeah, I also intend to do the same. But yeah, thank you so much again. And thank you, all the listeners, again. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, ring, if you want to get notified for our episodes, then press on the bell icon and then you'll get notified. So until next time, bye.